Pretty cool, huh? Did everyone see a fish? Got a couple of different species here. First one I'll tell you about is usually pretty easy to see. That solid colored fish with a single white dot on their back, sometimes 2 or 3 white dots. Those are called opali. And when they swim out into the sunlight, you can see why they are called opali, for their beautiful blue opalescent eye. That's probably the only beautiful thing about these fish. They are scavengers. They eat anything floating in suspension or growing on the bottom of your boat. Seaweed, algae, fish food, fish waste, cigarette butts, gum. Probably the most nutritious thing these opali will eat are small crustaceans on the ocean floor. So not the tastiest fish that you can catch on the island, but pound for pound, decent fighting fish, fun due to the size of their mouth. That small mouth is also what restricts their diet. Sometimes you can see them kissing the bottom of the boat, cleaning it off. You can see how small their mouth really is. The opali will get to be just under 2 feet fully grown, and they live to be about 8 or 9 years old in the wild. And then we have these greenish brown fish with a checkered pattern on their back. Those are called calico bass. Some people call them kelp bass for living in beds of kelp just like this. Some people call them sugar bass for their reputation as a delicious fish. And although these calico bass are so delicious, you won't find them in any restaurant. They are classified as a game fish, which means if you want to try one, you yourself have to catch it, clean it, cook it all on your own. This year, calico bass have to be at least 14 inches to be able to bring home. And they think it takes them about 8 to 10 years to get to that 14-inch mark. But these calico bass have been known to live up to 30, sometimes 35 years old in the wild. So some of the biggest ones we'll see out here today, well, they'll live in. But we've been feeding the fish out here in Butler's Cove for over 80 years. So they know this sport very well. And they also know that we only feed them in these 2 feeding areas. So once we start to make our way through the cove, you'll notice most of these fish are not going to follow the boat. Most of these fish are going to stay right here and wait for the next trip. But along the way, and basically throughout the whole trip, I don't know what we're going to see or when we're going to see it, because Lover's Cove is all part of the open Pacific Ocean. There are no nets, cages, lines, walls. There's nothing to stop anything from coming or going in or out of Lover's Cove. So that means that we could see something different on almost every trip. Sometimes we have things that will swim past us, underneath us, just for a couple of seconds, and we might not even see it for the rest of the day. And then sometimes there's different things here based off of the water temperature or conditions that impact the year. But for the first half of the trip here today, it'll be more shallow on the right-hand side, and then deeper out here on the left, where I'm sitting. And then after that second feeding area, we'll spin the boat around. We'll see plenty more calico bass, and you might have already noticed that they like to come right up to the windows. If it looks like they're staring at you, they probably are. Believe it or not, the calico bass can see us just about as well as we can see them through the glass. They are very interested in that fish food. Sometimes there's something different just underneath that big school of fish, maybe in the background, or even all the way down. more being kind of like a yellowish green color than that stereotypical silver that we see most of the other big fish have. But probably the easiest fish to point out and talk about on the way back is one that we've seen a couple of. We'll probably see a couple more of those bright orange fish. You can call them Nemo, you can call them goldfish, but they are the Garibaldi. And the Garibaldi are the state marine fish, state saltwater fish of California. They are protected by California law. People have been fined as much as $1,500 for keeping a single one of these little orange fish. Despite their size, they are one of, if not the most aggressive and territorial fish here in Lover's Cove, known to scare away predators up to 10 times their size, sometimes even entire schools of fish. So they're kind of like the chihuahuas of Lover's Cove. And that's why we don't see as many of them while we're feeding the fish. Not a whole lot here right now. Some of them will come up, but for the most part, those Garibaldi like to stay down close to the rocks where they can protect their nest and their eggs. They are very protective over those nests. They've even been known to bite at scuba divers and snorkelers for getting too close, which is basically why they started to be protected. The Garibaldi had a population threat due to overfishing by the aquarium industry and recreational spear fishermen. Not only is that bright orange color a very nice color to have in your aquarium, but it's also a very easy target underwater, and since they get so close to humans, it's an unfair advantage while hunting for them. So now they are protected and adopted as our state saltwater fish. These Garibaldi are part of the damselfish family, and there's usually one other damselfish that we can see here in Lover's Cove, and they are called the blacksmith. The blacksmith are the dark little midnight blue fish, fully grown right around the size of your hand, but we see a bunch of juvenile blacksmiths right around this time of the year. Sometimes they're closer to the size of a fingernail or your thumb. Basically, they're all those kind of like little minnows that we can see out there, usually on the deeper side. They usually have a dark midnight blue head and then a neon yellow tail. Some people call them the electric perch. It almost looks like a little swarm of bees out there every once in a while. It's another one of the filter feeders we have out here in Lover's Cove. So that's why we typically see them out there on the deeper or nutrient-rich water on that deeper side. But now that we have the boat turned around, everyone's had a chance to see both sides of Lover's Cove, and now you can see how deep or shallow it can get here very quickly. We can have anywhere from a 10 to 40 foot difference one side of the boat compared to the other. And we call this the island effect. A lot of the hills, cliffs, and mountains that we have here on Catalina Island will continue straight down into the ocean, sometimes even at a 45-degree angle. So some of the beaches around here, for about every foot you go out into the water, it can get about a foot deeper. Even the very entrance of Avalon Harbor that we'll go through at the end of the trip is around 100 feet deep right there. So this steep drop-off and our lack of naturally sandy beaches, that's what can give us such clear water at different times of the year. We usually don't have as much sand and sediment to get stirred up as a lot of other coastal areas do. And it also gives us the deepest channel in the entire world. That San Pedro Channel that we all cross on the ferries to get to Catalina Island, that is the deepest saltwater channel in the world every single day. And as we float around the feeding area, you'll start to notice more and more kelp underneath the boat. As what we can especially see out there on the deeper side right now, that is called giant kelp or bladder kelp. Some people call it giant bladder kelp. Those of us on the shallow side probably saw it on the way through. And that giant kelp is one of the fastest growing plants in the entire world. In perfect conditions, this kelp can grow up to 2 feet in a single day and can be over 200 feet long in total length. So it creates these beautiful undersea gardens very quickly, but it only grows in cold water, so it doesn't grow 2 feet every day. It likes to grow in water between about 50 and 65 degrees. About 72, 73 on the surface there, so it's way too warm for the kelp to grow. It's been thinning out and dying off the past couple months out here, usually around Catalina Island. That's where the kelp dies off every summer and then grows back every winter. So even though there's plenty of kelp for us to see throughout the trip here today, it's actually all kind of like left over from a few months ago when the water was about 10 degrees cooler. We did have a big tropical storm, hurricane, cyclone, whatever it was, came really close to the Channel Islands almost 3 weeks ago, and it actually uprooted a lot of this kelp. So we had more kelp 2 weeks ago than much more 2 months ago. But it's kind of like a big apartment building down there. There's crustaceans and urchins living on the holdfast, which is the root system of the kelp, and we have all these different fish that we see out here today that live in the water column between. But But as we exit this kelp forest, we'll start to also exit that rocky reef